Hi, I am Angie DeVore, and this is my presentation. I hope you can see me. My trend is escapism. This is my storyboard. Give you a couple of seconds just to take a nice look if you want. Okay, so moving on. Description of the trend escapism. Fabrics that are used. I might not be pronouncing these right. Chiffon, georgette, crepe, cotton voile, organdy, silk fabrics, cotton lawn, handkerchief linen, viscose fabric, baste stay. The textures that are commonly included: netting, silk, cotton, rough textures. Tends to be rough, with the exception of cotton and silk. Color palette used: orange, all shades, pink, all shades, this includes red, blue, all shades, purple, all shades, neon green. These are the specific colors that I have used in my storyboard. Typical texture is that of expensive material. The texture will feel like the descriptions words that are next to the set of words that are listed. Patterns: simple and very colorful with the colors and the color palette, elaborate and wild, mixed and matched colors with no particular purpose. Any pattern that screams wild and free. Shapes can be any of the following: free-flowing, tight, round in, sleeves, shirts, skirts, I should say, blouse, dress, pants. Exotic and unnatural shapes. The trend I present is a trend that lets you be who you are or a different person. It allows you to be free and express yourself in a flaunting way. It gives you a chance to show off bold colors and to be who you want to be, to escape from the world. I cannot see all of this, but here's what I can see. The mood from which you derive from this trend is a sassy, freelance, elaborate, over the top. It is intended to make potential customers intrigued by the clothes and give the wearer freedom without bounds. Bio of the designers that I picked: Jean-Paul, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Jean-Paul is a French designer best known for his eponymic eponymous design house, and his 7-year tenure as head designer of Hermes. Born in 1952 in the Paris suburb of Archely, he was interested in fashion from a young age, but was never formally trained in design. Vogue states, I know I will mispronounce words because some of these are long. Betsy Johnson. Fashion designer Betsy Johnson was born on August 10th, 1942. Hey, she's older than Jean Paul. She doesn't look like it though. In Wethersfield, Connecticut. Johnson grew up in the nearby town of Terrysville. As the child, where she indulged in her two greatest loves, drawing and dance. She had precocious talent for art, and throughout her youth, she was trained in various styles of dance, says biography.com. Alexander McQueen, my favorite. Early years. Lee Alexander McQueen was born on March 17, 1969, into a working-class family living in a public housing in London's Lewisham district. His father, Ronald, was a cab driver, and his mother, Joyce, taught social science. On their small incomes, they supported McQueen and his 5 siblings. Also says biography.com. Christian Lacroix was born in 1951 in Arles, France. Lacroix and his son is the son of an engineer father who helped design equipment used in oil drilling. Raised in a burgess household in Arles, a community located in the south of France region of Cambridge, Lacroix liked to draw. As a child, many of his sketches were clothing. Hey, same as me. Also says biography.com. The designers I picked with pictures of the best match to my theme. Each of these dresses represents my theme because each of them have a wild, free expression to them. Jean Paul's dress is very flowy and open and expressive. Betsy Johnson's dress is very colorful and vibrant and very poofy. Alexander McQueen's dress is very expressive, and it is very poofy, elaborate, and has a lot of fluffiness to it. Christian Lacroix's dress is, it has a lot of layers, and it is very elaborate and very, it is very, sorry, trying to think of the word here. It's very expressive. Not the word I was going for, but it works. Designers' work that reflects my trends. There's the dress from before. These are Jean Paul Gouter's designs. The blue one, as I stated, is very free and flowy and expressive, which is the whole point of my trend. The red one is very circular, and that's also part of my trend, is round and open. It's very round, it's very open, it's very elaborate in very many ways, yet it is simple and elegant, which is sort of like, you know, escaping in itself. It has two different meanings for the same dress. One's like trying to escape the other, you know, and trying to be a different thing than just both those objects, or, you know, you put whatever meaning you want in that. And then the blue one that is right next to it, that is diagonal to the red dresses, like point off the shoulders, kind of diagonal, and it's on the bottom of the other blue dress that's kind of poofy. This is very elaborate. It must have taken a lot of work to get all that fabric into one dress, and it is very round and very elaborate in very many ways, and it has the color palette that I'm looking for, with the light blue that screams I am free. And then, as I stated earlier, with the mismatched colors on the next one over, sorry, I should have said that beforehand. On the next one over, it's mismatched. It has lots of different colors added into it. It's very wild, it's very free, it's very expressive, so it fit quite nicely. Love the shoes. I know that's sidetracked, but I love the shoes. These are Betsy Johnson's designs. You know, we'll start from the one from the previous slide. I explained why it was a fit to my trend. And Betsy Johnson, and then the one next to it, it's also Betsy Johnson. They're all Betsy Johnson's designs. I said that before, but the one that has the flowers with the orange and striped socks is very vibrant and colorful and poofy, and it works very nicely because it is very expressive. All of this trend is basically an expression of yourself that goes beyond what, you know, is usually acceptable by people. Like, if you were to walk out in that dress, people would probably, especially if they didn't know fashion, probably look at you very weird, which I think it's very pretty. I think it's very elaborate and expressive, but other people would probably look at it and think, what in the world am I looking at? You know what I mean? Then the one just below that one is very tie-dye and very out there, and it's very round, very poofy, and it's very elaborate in all of its detail that it has, which fits very nicely with my trend as well. The one that is next to that one on the side, the one that's pink, it's very poofy, it's very elaborate, it might not look elaborate, but all of those little ruffles is definitely something that is more elaborate than just if it was just straight dress. And you know, it has the fabrics. I can tell it has the fabrics that I mentioned earlier. It looks like it has some of the fabrics that I had listed. So I think it also fits in that way. The color fits kind of nicely because it's pink. It's a shade of pink. It's very peach. So yeah. Next slide. This is designer's work that reflect my trend continued. I could not fit all 4 on one slide, so I gave you another. Here's Alexander McQueen and Christian Crocs. The dress that's right next to that the arrow is pointing to is very flowy. It's very flowy, and at the top it's very tight, which also incorporates 2 elements of the shape. It's also blue. It's very blue on the bottom, and it's very elaborate, which most of Alexander McQueen's work is very elaborate. So probably pull anything and it would be elaborate, but it fits with it because it is also elaborate. The dress that is right next to it, that is kind of in between the 2 rows, is very elaborate, very poofy, very exotic in a way. It's like almost like it hasn't, like it's almost like a dress that comes stitched with an apron is kind of what I imagine. I'm not sure what's on the head of that mannequin that's wearing the dress, but that's also part of my trend because it's very elaborate. It's very out there. It's very not something you're gonna see every day. Which is escapism, you know, because you're escaping from the everyday, kind of going through the motions. You're escaping from that. And then the pink one that was on the slide with all of the designers, some pictures with the designers. I explained why that one was part of my trend. The one next to that is very, it looks like it might have some, use some of the fabrics that are part of my trend. It has the colors that are part of my trend, and it is very elaborate, very out there. This one I think fits very nicely. I didn't put it though as the one that fit best with my trend because it is a little bit more simpler than the one next to it. Okay, moving on. One that the arrow is directly pointing to was on the slide with the lines of the best fitting for the trends. The one next to that that's all pink is very elaborate. It's very out there. It's very expressive, and it fits very nicely because it is all those things, and it looks like, and I know it uses either fake silk or silk. So it definitely has some of the fabrics, has the colors in it, and it is definitely very elaborate. Like, you would not walk outside and see everyone wearing that hat, for example. The one right below that definitely is using some of the fabrics that I had stated. It has pink in it. I think there's a little blue or purple there, which is also part of the trend. The purple and the pink are kind of similar, so I don't know if I don't think I put that before, but that's also part of the trend, which is basically rainbow colors almost, excluding yellow kind of, but not really, because the orange kind of fits the profile of yellow. So it's a very colorful trend. There's a lot of color to it. There's a lot of different fabrics that are used. But the main purpose of the escapism trend is not really too much about the fabrics or about the colors that are used, but it's more about the elaborate designs. It's more about how much detail is put into a design. There are some things that are simple and kind of basic in it, but it's very elaborate in the sense that it brings out the beauty of someone. So anyway, moving on before I get too sidetracked. The orange dress, the poofs and the poofs on the shoulders and everything is very elaborate, very out there. It's also very old style. Like, I feel like this is something you wouldn't see that much today, but it's definitely something that is very elaborate and out there, and things in the past have often been very escapist. So this also has something to do with that. I feel like it also fits very nicely because of how elaborate and poofy, and just imagine trying to make that poof the way it did, and the talent you have to get into that, to make it like that. So those are why the images work. Okay, moving on. We have reached the end of my presentation. I had a lot of photos. Here's all the places from which I had gotten the photos. I got them off of Google Images, but I didn't want to cite Google Images because that's just not really professional. So I cited all of the websites from which, because you can visit the websites from which the photos are from, and then I cited those websites. As I said, I have a lot of photos. There's more photos. I just want to briefly state, I picked the little origami because it's like it's escaping. It's escaping off the screen. It's getting away. I also want to go back and explain a couple of things about my storyboard. Hold on, it's loading. Here we go. Don't know why it went like that. So, first thing, when you see the word escapism, here, let me do the laser pen. You see this? It's escaping into another color. It's escaping into another color. And then the photos come here. And then it escapes the photos. So there's a lot of behind meaning in all of my slides, but I just really wanted to point that one out. See, with the origami. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my final slide. Kind of going to leave you with a challenge. I challenge you to find the in-depth hidden meaning in all of my slides with all the animations that I had put up. How I put meaning in it with escapism behind it, where they're escaping using that word to make my animations the way they were. I carefully picked all of that. I challenge you to find them. I do not know how many there are because I wasn't counting, but there are lots. So I hope that you find them and it's a fun activity you can go back and do. Well, that is all. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope you have a nice day. Bye.